Hello, everybody, and welcome to day 35 of my Forex trading journey. I hope each and every one of you are having a amazing day so far. Right now, I'm going to go ahead and I am working on getting some trades put together. We've got a sell arrow that just happened for Cardano, so I went ahead and I got into a sell trade for that pair, and I'm also going to go ahead and get into a sell trade for LTC USD as well. So far as we start the morning at 5 a.m. my time, we've gone ahead and we've got into two sell trades. So one for Cardano, one for LTC USD, and from that point forward, we're going to go ahead and let those particular trades play out. And so again, I hope each and every one of you are having a amazing day so far. Amazing Tuesday so far. So I want to go ahead and address this question right here that I got in one of my Facebook comments, and it's a very good it's an amazing question, which is, are these particular accounts that I'm using at the moment, are they demo accounts? And yes, that is correct. I have been preaching to everybody, as far as testing out different pairs. And really, I want to talk about specifically LTC. I want to talk UK oil. I want to talk which particular pair is this? I believe this is US oil. Yes, this is US oil. This is gold versus euro. This is Cardano. Let me make sure I got everything. Platinum. So besides gold and silver, which I've already gone ahead and have put into a real account before, and I certainly had the confidence to go ahead and do that again. Do that again. For a lot of the other pairs that we have mentioned. So, that would, refer to Cardano. Again, that's Cardano, LTC, UK oil, US oil, platinum. These pairs that I've not necessarily tested yet on a real account, I first want to go ahead and make sure that they can be traded on using a demo account. Before we even tried silver and before we even tried gold on a real account in the past, I've also gone ahead and I placed them on a demo account as well, because I do believe it's important to make sure that, again, that the strategy that we're using can be sustainable and can also be can be sustainable. So the easiest way that I can go ahead and do that is to place it on a demo account first. And that is because when we think about it, I'd rather go ahead and see if there's any changes that need to be made, or if there are any mistakes that can be corrected. I would rather go ahead and make sure that any mistakes that come our way are done through a demo account. That way we're not wasting any real money by placing it on a real account only for it to be wasted. Now, of course, I would never want to envision that. I would never want to go ahead and say, oh, I'm going to, I expect money to be lost if traded on a real account. But the best way to prevent that from happening is to try your strategy first on a demo account first before you translate that to a real account. So that's exactly how come a lot of these pairs, including the ones that have been tested already, are on a demo account. Now, with that being said, I do plan on, especially because I had a lot of great testing with silver and gold already, I do plan on putting them onto real accounts in the future. I do believe that is definitely something that is going to take place. But as far as the other pairs, I do still want them on the demo account first, only because I haven't found that particular winning strategy for those pairs yet using the strategy that we're using. So we definitely want to make sure that those are tested correctly, that we're able to make sure that they can actually be done on a demo account first. There's a sustainable strategy on a demo account first before we go ahead and we translate over to a real account. Now, With that being said, I do want to go ahead and again talk a little bit more about the buy opportunities, the sell opportunities that come forth, and a little bit more about what our strategy with those buy and sell arrows are going to be, especially if we're using the hedging strategy that we're using. Now, for a buy opportunity, what I actually, let's go ahead and let's take a look at the sell opportunity first, only because, we just got ourselves into a sell opportunity initially. Now, what I like to try to do, in fact, what I like to go ahead and try to do first is for any buy or sell opportunity that is out there, I usually try to close a sell trade that is in, oh, sorry, sell opportunity. Let's go sell opportunity. For a sell opportunity, I try to close a buy trade that is in profit first. And that is because when we think about it, again, if there's a buy trade that is in profit, now I do see that there was a buy trade of about 52 cents in profit, although, looking at my commission and swap fees, I don't mind holding on to that particular pair or that particular trade right now, just because of how close it is to, breaking even. So with that being said, when I go into these sell opportunities, I do try to look for a buy trade that would be in profit, close that particular buy trade that is in profit. That way, I get that added to my balance. I get that trade off of my ledger, so to speak. And by closing out that particular buy trade, what that does is that then allows then a sell trade that I had opened earlier to effectively be open again, and we would go ahead and we would be in that particular sell trade. Now, as far as a buy opportunity is concerned, when that happens, I do vice versa. I would then go ahead and try to look to first see if there is a sell trade in profit that we can go ahead and close, because again, if we can close a sell trade that is in profit, what that does for us is that allows then the buy opportunity that we had open before to effectively be open, and we are able to build up our equity that way. So I think that was something I really wanted to clarify. That was definitely something I wanted to clarify, especially when it comes to the hedging strategy that we're working with. Again, for any buy opportunity that's out there, I first look to see if there's a sell trade and profit that I can close. And for a sell opportunity, I try to first look to see if there's a buy opportunity that I can go ahead and close that's in a profit first before anything. And again, what this does when we try to look first for trades that are in profit that we can go ahead and close, and then ultimately find a space to then close out a pre-existing either buy trade if we close a sell trade, or pre-existing sell trade if we close a buy trade, and be able to ride the momentum from there. This will protect ourselves from excessive swap fees and excessive spreads. Now, I talked about this before. As far as the pairs are concerned, or for a lot of these particular trades, what ends up happening is if we have too many trades that are open, there are too many trades that are open, what will happen is all the swap fees that come from, and again, a swap fee is when you have a particular trade that exists from all the way until about 5 p.m. Eastern time, 4 p.m. Central, 3 p.m. Mountain, and 2 p.m. Pacific. When that happens, you will get what's called a swap fee. Now, a swap fee is going to look different for every pair. It's not going to be the same. From my understanding, the most excessive swap fees that I've seen so far are definitely on the oil side. So if you are trading, and now again, this is Hugo's way, mind you. So if you are planning to trade on Hugo's when you're planning to trade on oil, You do want to make sure that you understand that the oil does have swap fees on there. So if you plan on using the hedging strategy, again, you just want to make sure that you're playing that out right so that the swap fees don't necessarily hit you hard. And then as far as the excessive spreads, now I've seen a lot of pairs so far, and none of them have terrible spreads besides platinum. Platinum probably is the one, what I like to call the outlier in all this. With spreads, that could also hurt you because again, excessive spreads can also essentially take away your equity as well, since you're basically, instead of starting at your starting position, what spread does is it knocks you back depending on the range, it could range from a few pips to about 30, 40, or 50 pips. And by doing that, essentially gives you a bigger hole to climb out of when you account for the spread. So again, the only times I've seen either excessive swap fees or excessive spreads are the oil pairs as well as platinum. And then as far as everything else, I'm taking a look at silver. It's not terrible. The gold pairs aren't terrible either. The crypto the crypto pairs aren't terrible either. So again, as we move forward, as we start to add even more pairs and start to test our system more with all these different pairs that are out there, we'll be able to go ahead and get ourselves a better picture of exactly what we are going to go ahead and face as far as spreads and swap fees, and that will allow us to make sure we have the right pairs for our real trading account. That way we don't have to worry about getting too caught up in the swap fees or the spreads that could impact or even hinder our account. And when I talk about going back into all these different pairs that we're testing, so far we're testing about 8 different pairs right here. The one thing that I want to point out, because we are doing so, is, and I've talked about this a little bit before, I believe going back to our 3rd week, and it's this principle called diversification. Okay, so diversification, what that is specifically, is this is a concept where we're taking all these different pairs. So, we look at our history for so far. We're talking about the cryptos, we're also talking about the oils, we're talking about the different metal pairs that we have, and the principle behind that is we are wanting to make sure that we are not putting all of our eggs in one basket. So, when we started this particular journey, day one, we were focused on only gold specifically. That was the pair that we wanted to go ahead and do. And so for gold being our first pair, which was good, we started off with gold, and then we went ahead and we added silver to the mix, and we started to trade on silver. Then the 3rd week, we went ahead and now that buy hour did move over to the next candle. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to close a buy trade that is in profit on Cardano, so that acts as a second sell for us, as you can see right there. So technically we are in 2 open sell trades for Cardano. For LTC, we're still in 1 open sell trade for right now. Look at everything else: UK oil, US oil, gold versus euro, gold versus USD, platinum versus USD, and silver versus USD. We have nothing as of yet. So we are in currently 1 LTC sell trade and 2 Cardano sell trades as well. So back to diversification. Now, the more pairs that we can go ahead and we're able to look at, the more diversified, or the more what I like to call our portfolio in this instance, our trading portfolio is mixed or is spread among all these different financial instruments. And because it's spread throughout all these different financial instruments, what this allows us to do is it allows us to make sure that we take into account as many trading opportunities as we can within a 5-hour time frame, within a 5-hour period. Because again, I only trade from 5 a.m. Mountain Time to 10 a.m. Mountain Time. So it allows me more particular opportunities for that 5-hour trading period. And then also, if we think about it, because we have more trading opportunities, because we're spreading among different pairs, again, we're not so codependent on one particular pair, but instead we can go ahead and rely on, a multitude of other pairs in case one pair for the day or the week or the month or etc. doesn't necessarily work out for us. And it's through these times, as well as when we encounter a situation, for example, a blown account, with our strategy, or even with all the different pairs that are out there, when we take into consideration diversification, when we take into consideration swap fees, excessive spreads, looking for a buy trade when we have a sell trade and profit, how we can close that, or even a sell trade when we want to first try to close a buy trade and profit. All we're doing throughout those particular moments, those moments in the journey where we're adjusting the strategy, or we're pivoting because a bear trend turns into a bull trend, or a bull trend turns into a bear trend, those times we are indeed adjusting. Because again, we don't want to necessarily stay with something that doesn't serve us. If I know full well for a particular pair that a strategy that we tried and tested on led me to a blown account, and I've followed that particular strategy to a T, then at that point, I'm thinking to myself, okay, we definitely need to adjust the strategy at some point, at one particular point. Now, that normally is now for what we have been doing. Of course, we've tried adjusting the time frame. So, for gold and silver, when we blew that real account, instead of doing it on the 5-minute time frame, we have adjusted that to the 15-minute time frame. And then for platinum, for instance, where we've gone through that, where we've blown an account about, I want to say 4 or 5 times during the journey, we've gone ahead and not only have we tried different time frames, but we've also adjusted by placing what I like to call a barrier. If those trades get into a particular drawdown, let's say about, I believe right now it's about 20 pips we're doing that for, so 20 pip drawdown, what we're doing is we're placing a trade in the opposite direction and effectively closing it. And so throughout those times where we understand a bull market turns into a bear market, and it's more obvious and plain when that happens, the bull market's buy hours would appear, but when the buy hour disappears, that doesn't necessarily mean that we're in a bull market anymore. Now we're turning into a bear market more than likely, and vice versa. If we see that we are in a bear market because we have sell opportunities like we have so far for LTC and Cardano, well, then now we're looking at, and those sell hours disappear. Now we're looking at these particular markets, instead of a bear market, they're turning into a bull market. And again, I'll reiterate, there'll be more pairs that we try on as we move forward throughout the weeks. There will be more pairs that we're experimenting on, that we're testing on, that we're taking trades on. And this allows us to look for more and different opportunities that are out there in the market. No, it would not do us justice just to stay with the pairs that we're currently at and think there is not anything else that we can go ahead and explore. This market has millions and millions and millions of different opportunities that are out there. And so for us, in order to go ahead and capitalize on as many opportunities as we can, we have to make sure that we are indeed looking at those different opportunities that we can go ahead and see. And mind you, by doing this, we also want to understand that investments can go in opposite directions. So, for example, I remember for some pairs end up having you take sell trades. Some other pairs may end up having you take buy trades, depending on the type of market that you're looking on. Now, it would be hard pressed for me to say that you're going to be wrong in either one of those particular situations. So what this does is it ultimately puts you at a point where you're protecting your money even more. Because let's say one trade isn't panning out, that doesn't necessarily mean that the other trade won't pan out on the different financial instrument. So in a way, you're saving yourself from a lack of trading confidence by understanding, okay, maybe this one opportunity isn't working out for this different financial instrument, but I'm still able to go ahead and turn that around by having a successful trade on this different financial instrument. Again, that goes back to the point of we're not putting all of our stock, no pun intended, we're not putting all of our stock in one instrument, but instead we're going ahead and we are moving forward by looking at other opportunities that can go ahead and turn around specifically one particular trade that may or may not be going well, so that our account can still prosper and we can go ahead and still continue to grow. And the more that we do this diversification principle, the more that we go ahead and we fine tune our strategy to adjust our stop loss or even adjust our time frame. The main goal, the ultimate objective, and I'm going to go ahead and write this down for everybody. The main goal or the main objective is to decrease our risk and increase our return. Because the less that we risk, then the more, first off, the less that we decrease our risk, then what we're doing is that's the defense part. And we talked about it before, how yesterday that defense is 10 times more important than offense. But once we have a strong defense in mind, which is that decreasing our risk part, then we could play offense, which is to absolutely increase our return. And throughout this time, we have been looking for the best way to go ahead and decrease that particular risk. Now, the one thing that is going to impact a lot more than most are the swap fees. Again, I talked about exactly what those swap fees are, but that will be the main part of the equation as far as how we're going to move forward. A, when it comes to our hedging strategy, and B, that the best way that we can go ahead and play defense on that particular fact. So I do have to ask you this question. What can the next trade do for you? Right? What can the next trade do for you? Let's say you take, a couple of losses here or there. I mean, well, we've seen that happen where we've taken a couple of losses, yet we're able to turn around our day because we've always said to ourselves, okay, this happened, we move on to the next trade. And that mentality is going to save you a lot of strife, a lot of pain by following that mentality than not following it. And that is because when we think about, okay, when we think about our minds, our survival minds are trained to think about the past, think about how stuff has hurt you in the past, and with that being said, also think about how you don't want to necessarily do those things anymore because it has hurt you in the past, because it has protected you. While that might serve us for, if we see a predator or something like that, or if we're doing something that we know can harm us, what we have to understand is trading does not harm us. Trading is a financial market. It is a $6.6 trillion a day market. From what I understand, and from my beliefs, money does not hurt you. It doesn't. It can't hurt you. It can't bite you. It can't. It can't. It can't come up to you and start a fight with you. No, money is it's a currency. It's a thing. It's a noun. It's an inanimate object. So it can't hurt us. And so if it can't hurt us, then if I see an opportunity to make more of this thing that doesn't hurt me, even if I lost a few of those things that does not hurt me in the past, then I'm not going to worry about the next trade if I understand if my mentality goes, okay, that happened. What's going to happen on the next trade? And again, it all comes back to maybe it's not that particular pair that you trade anymore for the day. Well, we've certainly seen that happen where we take one particular trade opportunity and then we're done for the day because, well, we took a loss or we took a win. And that's the purpose of going back to, again, diversification and owning an array of attractive investments. I'm going to go ahead and say this about diversification, and then we'll talk about something else, right? Because I think it's so important for us to understand that diversification, and you could talk about this with any particular financial investor, whether it be myself, whether it be Warren Buffett, whether it be George Soros, whether it be Paul Tudor, and I can go ahead and the list goes on from there. But diversification is a core component for long-term success. By the way, that doesn't come from me. That comes from Unshakable by Tony Robbins. And I submit to you this. This was Tony Robbins' second book about investing. He already did a book before then called, and I definitely want to read this at some point. There was another book, I believe it was called Money Masters the Game. If I'm wrong about that, I will come correct myself. I will come correct myself. But the first book that he did, he interviewed a lot of the world's most successful financial investors at the time. And a lot of them will also speak this proponent of diversification. And so if we can understand, okay, diversification is one of those things that are just absolutely important, and that we don't lose sight of diversification, well, what that is going to allow us to do then is to understand that we need to practice a strategy. We need to keep adding. We need to keep testing pairs. By the way, I just got myself into another sell trade with Cardano right there. So I believe that's 3 sell trades we're in with Cardano. LTC, no opportunity as of right now. We do not have anything on UK oil, nothing on US oil. Oh, we do have, okay. So I believe that is a opportunity for a sell on gold. So I'm going to go ahead and take that. Do we have anything? Okay, no. So I'm going to go ahead and just place a sell right here. We do have a candle. Now, the sell arrow, it did go to this particular candle. Just taking a look at the structure, the sell arrow did go to this candle, and now it has gone ahead and has moved over to this candle. So we're going to go ahead and look to get into a second sell trade on gold if necessary. And then let me take a look at everything else that's going on. Oh, and we also have a sell on gold versus USD. So let's do that. Okay, a few things are happening today. That's really awesome. Okay, let's place a sell on gold. Okay, so for those that are just kind of looking at what just happened right there, I've got one sell trade in LTC, one trade on gold, and one trade on gold versus euro as of right now. So coming back to what we're talking about right here, and see, here's a great example. Let me go ahead and just take a look right here. Okay, that looks like a sell for platinum 2. You just take a look right here. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to close one. I'm going to close one platinum buy trade that was in profit. And so that I can go ahead and get myself into a sell for platinum. I also have the down arrow right here that moved over to the next candle. So I'll be looking to go ahead and I'll be looking to get myself into another sell trade if that candle right there closes within the next 15 minutes. And then let me see, UK oil, US oil, and silver. Okay, nothing there. So we got one sell trade for platinum, one sell trade for gold versus euro, one sell trade versus gold for gold. Nothing, or we got one sell trade for LTC USD, and we've also got one sell trade for, or no, I'm sorry, 3 sell trades. Okay, so that arrow actually closed, or that arrow disappeared. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna get ourselves out of that. And see, again, I don't expect anyone to do this right now, considering this is about day 34, day 35. So again, you got to go at definitely go at your own pace, but also understand right there is what we're talking about in terms of diversification and coming back to what can the next trade do for me, and having the ability to look at all the different assets that we have and not just one particular asset. Right here is a good example of what happens when we use diversification to our use. One trade didn't work out, fine. I'm going to go ahead then and look for the next trade opportunity that we can go ahead and do. And so far, we got ourselves involved in 4 different instruments: one sell trade for platinum, one sell trade for gold versus euro, one sell trade for gold, and one sell trade for LTC USD. And we'll be able to take a look to see what happens within the next 15 minutes in order to determine our next move. And again, this is all about, as I say that we're on day 35, what we have done in order to get to this point is we went through the day-by-day journey. You know, there's an old adage that Rome wasn't built in a day, and that's absolutely true. This was not built in a day. Now, I'm not saying that on the Roman Empire, right? I do call myself the world-changing emperor. You know, I am a world-changing emperor, but I do not call myself the Roman Empire, mind you. Although if I can attain to those strides, then and if that works for my higher self, then absolutely. But more to the point right here. The matter of the fact is that it's taking us about 35 days to get to this point where we're practicing the skill of trading, practicing being able to go through all these different pairs and trade on these particular pairs. And what we've done so far is built up the emotions of not getting too caught up in the fact that we've taken some winning trades and we've taken losing trades. All we've really been doing is allowing ourselves to just stay within the moment, stay within what we are doing today. You know, we have that present time consciousness that I've been preaching so much, that I've learned from Dr. Luis Ariaza. And by being in this state, and also, again, just being grateful for the fact that we're here on day 35. You know, see that right there, being grateful that we are on our 35th day of this journey. When I put that into context, what that gives me, because it is very easy for me to get lost in what has been going on in the journey and being stuck in the past. That's happened to me before, where I couldn't get out of my own way just because of things that have happened in the past that I cannot control right now in the present. So for me to, for me to start to say, okay, I'm doing this right here, day 35. We don't go back unless I review, right? Reviewing is important. But as long as I don't go back to what happened back then and just I concentrate on what's happening on the here and now, so that the next day or the next weeks or the next month, etc., when that comes, as long as I worry about that particular trajectory, then there's no need for me to worry about what happened in the past or what took place in the past. And so I can concentrate on building up these skills that have allowed me to get to a point where I am able to look at 8 different financial instruments and figure and determine where are the best opportunities in terms of a trade. And by doing this, again, I fully understand that I am one of 10,000, 100,000, a million participants. I'm not sure of the exact number, but the matter of the point is that I am one of these participants, and I also understand the market is not out to get me, right? The market is not doing this. This is what the market is not doing. The market is not saying, let's go into Jordan Rosario's YouTube channel. Let's go onto the World Changing podcast and see what he's doing and do the opposite so that we can screw Jordan Rosario over. That is not what the market is doing. It's really not. It's too much of a conceited approach to think that way. I'm calling it out as it is. It's too much of a conceited approach to think that way. So I know better, and I know that in the grand scheme of things, this is all just a big battle between the bulls and the bears. And what we're doing is we're not taking a side. We are ultimately just playing, whatever side's going to make us the most amount of money in this situation. Now, one thing that I can coach, I can coach a lot of things, but I can't coach this. And that's the emotion of being unshakable, right? We talked about Unshakable, the Tony Robbins book. Yeah, I can't coach that particular emotion. We do have that unshakable emotion in each and every one of us. We have that ability to stay in the game. We have that ability to develop what's called that emotional fortitude. We all have that ability to go ahead and do that so that we can tell ourselves, or we can move forward and be able to stay in this game long term. However, that is what we need to extract out of you. You have that. You have the ability to also extract that, but it is certainly up to you in order to practice that. Again, knowledge is potential power. Everything that I give is potential power, in the sense that I can only teach what I can teach. I can only coach what I can coach. And that's specifically, when do I get into trades? When do I believe a trade is this and that, and etc. But what I can't do is I can't teach you the way to feel emotions or be emotions. That's a hard task for any coach out there to do. That's something that you have within yourself, and I can't teach that. Now, I will say there are ways to help build that emotional fortitude that I can go ahead and advise for you to do. And one important power in that, or one important thing to consider, is the fact that you don't want to give up on yourself. You don't want to give up on yourself, even if you had a bad day, a bad week, a bad month. And I remember this quote from Tom Chenault, and I've heard Tom Chenault a lot. He's someone that I indirectly work with here at my company, 8 Minute Trader, the who I'm partnering with. And there was a quote there was something powerful he said, and this was said in one of our what I like to call team building meetings, and it stuck out with me, and I wanted to go ahead and share it with you. On a bad day, you don't want to quit, because it's very easy to do that, and by having a bad day in the market, your emotions are completely different from when you do something good. Now, for example, let's say that today is a terrible day. Well, I'm going to, internally, I'm going to feel a certain way that could make it very easy for me to give up in trading. Very easy. And by the way, that's happened to me on more than one occasion where I just wanted to throw my computer away and just say, I'm never doing this again. Yet I still come back here. But again, it's super easy to give up on those particular days. Now, on a good day where everything goes absolutely beautifully well, where everything goes absolutely perfect, we win every trade, all that good stuff, then your emotions are a little bit different. Now you say to yourself, wow, this was awesome. Now I can really see the power of Forex trading. I can go ahead and do these things. I could be more. I can get myself pumped up. Now it's in that state of moment, you can ask yourself, do I want to give up on trading? Because again, everything that turns out bad for us, especially if we're doing it, and especially if we're very, I don't want to say inexperienced, but we're very green to the game. It's easy for us when we're green at something, not just this, but anything in life where it doesn't work out, we had a bad day, all that good stuff. It's easy for us to give up in that particular moment. Yet, when you get good at something, when you have success in something, then what your emotions do is then they're saying, oh, come on, I want more of that. I want more. I want to see what's next. And it's in those decisions that now your mind is clear. You have an idea of what you're doing. You can move forward in the next direction. And so those are the times where you can ask yourself that question. And more often than not, chances are I'm 100% confident that you won't give up in those particular moments. Again, you have to understand that there are other trade opportunities to come as we go throughout these days. There's going to be millions and millions and millions of trade opportunities that we can go ahead and take. And I don't look at one bad day or one good day as the catalyst for me wanting to stop what I'm doing right here. If that was the case, then I would have quit this game a very, very long time ago. But I don't, because I see the potential here. Now, I'm going to go ahead and close another buy trade for platinum so we can have two sell trades right there. I'm going to go ahead and also get myself into another sell trade for gold, another sell trade for gold versus USD. So we got and so we had two sell trades for gold versus USD and gold versus oil. And I'm going to go ahead and close a buy trade right here on LTC. So now that I'm in two sell trades. So again, to reiterate, I'm in two sell trades for platinum. I am in two sell trades for gold versus euro. I am in two sell trades for gold, and I'm in two sell trades for LTC USD. The down arrow did move over to the next candle. So within the next 15 minutes, we'll see if we're going to go ahead and we are going to get ourselves into another trade. Now, with all that being said, one thing that I always will preach is the power of learning from your mistakes and being able to go ahead and correct yourself and move forward. Even as a teacher, I understand the power of having we talked about level 10 mindset yesterday, but having the ability to become a level 10 student and a level 10 master at the same time, having those energies blend together so you can be a level 10 teacher is very important to me. Because I know that, again, while I may have 2 years experience, my second year anniversary of trading will take place on November 1st. Even as I have those 2 years of experience, I understand that there is more for me to do, more for me to grow in this game than I give myself credit for. To be a student and to learn all the things, right? So going back to let me first go to my routine. My routine is I trade for about five hours, and then afterwards, I of course need to upload these particular episodes onto YouTube and everything, and also post and show my results on the social medias. Now, after that point, I journal, get myself into the right state of mind. I then take at least 3 subject matters that I'm working on, 3 books. So whether that be astrology or whether that be birth cards that I'm studying right now, or whether that be this awesome book about the 7 energies that I'm reading by David Gendelman. Fantastic gentleman, by the way. I had the absolute pleasure of meeting him. I want to say that was on August that I was able to meet him. And I had a great conversation, got his book, and I've been reading that. But more, point being that I know that there is still a lot for me to, as I look at myself in this 27-year-old person, I understand that I've got a lot more time on this earth than I give myself credit for, even though I don't take any day for granted. We're not guaranteed another day. So I must be grateful for not only this day, but the many days that are yet to come. But the point being that I know that there is still a lot for me to grow among this particular journey. There's a lot more for me to do, be, and learn from. And so if I can understand that and be able to still have that mindset of being a student while also teach what I know, this will allow not just myself, but the people who listen to me also grow. I can't be stale in what I teach. I cannot be. I cannot preach the same thing over and over again. Now I will review what I do in multiple days. Don't get me wrong. I will do that. But if I keep repeating the same stuff day in and day out, and I don't get any better, if I don't improve in my teaching, if I don't, let me say it like this. I believe it's super important for me to keep learning and to keep passing on all the learnings that I know now and pass it along, whether it's on this episode or the days to come, because we can never stop the learning process. I'll repeat this quote. If you are not learning, if you are not growing, you are dying. And I have been at a point where I did not learn, I did not grow, and my soul, a part of my soul, a part of my mind and my body and my spirit had died because I did not do that. So understanding that experience, and mind you, it was a very rough experience. I now put all of my stock into at least learning or reading something new every day. leaders are readers. If you can remember that out of everything else, remember to learn something new each and every day. Now, investing makes a lot of people wealthy, and we know that. I look at, and wealthy can mean a whole lot of things, right? Do we need to? Yes, of course, when we talk about it in the financial market sense, yes, of course, people get money by investing. People get money by playing in the stock market, whatever. But there are also other types of investments that you can do as well. A part of, I go back to what I just said a few minutes ago, me reading, me learning something new every day, me learning about all the different relationships in my life. That is an investment of time. Now, remember, time is infinitely greater than money. So I spend time, or I invest time in the things I care about, educating myself, learning more and more about the relationships, the friendships that I've been blessed and grateful to have, had, and will continue to have. That is all an investment of time that I enjoy making, because I am generating wealth, not just in terms of the financial realm, but I'm also investing it in the physical realm. I'm investing it in the emotional realm, the social realm, and the spiritual realm. I believe those 5 realms right there are very important to invest in as you move forward. Because if you can attain all those 5 pillars of, generating unlimited wealth financially, well, you'll have all the resources you need to do whatever it is that you want. That's money freedom. If you invest yourself physically, you'll be able to physically do whatever that you want. If you invest emotionally, I like to call it, for example, I talked about this before, but I went to therapy at the beginning of this month because there was a lot of stuff that I felt closed off to. There were a lot of things that were weighing me down in terms of just things that have happened in my life that I didn't necessarily have the confidence to talk about with my family. And again, it's difficult for me to talk about these things. And at some point, when I do feel comfortable sharing, I will share. But do know that those things were really holding me back. I did feel like, in order to better equip myself in my relationships, I had to go ahead and get that stuff out of my body, out of my soul. And so going to therapy helped me indeed get those things out of my soul. And so, no, if you have an opportunity and you really feel like, and it's not like you'll be able to, everyone will be able to function. I've been able to function just fine. I've been able to socialize just fine. That's not the point. The thing about that therapeutic experience was you feel, when you're weighed down, when there's a lot of pressure, and not only that's on top of you, but also within you, that if you don't talk about it, you're going to, at some point in time, just freaking explode. So if you do need to go to therapy, or not need, but if you desire to get some of that stuff out of you, therapy is most definitely the best way to do it. And so investing, emotional wealth, Social wealth, of course, making friendships, making connections, being able to be a part of different networks, all that. That is also investing in terms of growing your social wealth. And then what I do with astrology, what I do with birth cards, and also even my numerology, all that stuff I'm sure we'll talk about later. But all that stuff, that helps me generate unlimited wealth in the form of spirituality. So that's what I mean by the 5 pillars: emotional, physical, financial, social, and spiritual. And everyone has the ability to generate unlimited wealth in those 5 realms, by the way. At the end of the day, when we make investments in those 5 realms, we do take risks. We put ourselves out there. We grow in these uncomfortable situations. So I asked this question because risks are scary. There's no hiding from that. We are all prone to being risk adverse. But here's my question. How can we achieve anything if we are too scared to take a risk? You think of these computers. At some point when they were at the cusp of being invented, the guy who probably made the first computer was thinking, wow, this is a risk because what I might do might sound crazy to a lot of people. Will this actually work? Someone who got into building microphones, is that risky? Will anyone actually ever use these? Heck, we can even go into a good old cup of coffee. I don't know when a cup of coffee was invented. I'm sure they thought it was a risk, but hey, I am glad they took that risk because I am now drinking a cup of coffee. This wireless mouse, everything that you see at some point in time was invented, or some concept or some form of spirituality. All that people had to take a risk, put themselves out there in order to birth and grow the idea. So again, how can we achieve anything if we are too scared to take a risk? How can we achieve Forex trading? How can we achieve the level of financial success that each and every one of us desires if we are too scared to take a risk? It's better, right? Because I'm going to be completely honest. Every day that I go into trading, every day that I go into trading, I am genuinely afraid, right? I am genuinely scared as a teacher, right? Because out of everything else that I do, I want to make sure that I do an amazing job for you guys each and every day. It's pressure on me. It really is. And I'm not saying that because I'm bragging or being egotistical or, being braggadocious, all those things. But what I'm saying is that I am afraid of messing up. And with that being said, understanding that I am afraid of messing up, even though I understand that I am afraid of doing all these things to mess up and to and to understand that this goes wrong, what will people think of me, and all this other stuff right here. I always ask myself this. I always say to myself this whenever I feel I get to that particular point. And the matter of the fact is, and I'm actually going to go ahead and take a sell on. Oh, wait a minute. I forgot. Hold on. I forgot the you know what? No, that's fine. I'll leave it like that. That's okay. Okay. So I'm gonna put the high point was at 90.495. I forgot that with the UK oil, they have a little bit of a different clock compared to the other pairs. So I had to wait an extra 5 minutes before doing that, but that's okay. It's a mistake, I know that, but we're in this trade anyway, so I'm not going to what's the word I'm looking for? I'm not going to back out of it now. Okay, so I got to go ahead. Oh yeah, that's right. Grab that. Okay, perfect. All right, so the high point was at 90.495. And at 200 points, that is 90.698, 90.698, 90.698. Boom. Okay. So leave that right there. And then nothing else has to be. Okay. So we got a sell trade going on with the UK oil. I'm actually going to go ahead and adjust that a little bit because, again, I did make that mistake right there. So see, 90.507. I'm looking at the high point on this candle right here. So I'm going to move that to at least 90.707 right there. Okay. And we'll go about it from there. Cool. All right. All right. And all right. Cool. Right. So as you can see right there, that was a little uncomfortable that I made a mistake of my own. But even though I made that mistake, and granted, even though you've seen me make a myriad of mistakes, just going back to my blown accounts and everything, it's better to see I'm afraid, still take that uncomfortable action anyway, and go through and experience what happens. Now, again, I'll say this: being risk adverse, we can't achieve anything by doing that. We always have to take a risk at some point, even if we don't know what that potential perceived risk is. Everything we do, every choice that we make has some risk that we're either aware of or that we're unaware of. Now, again, I know we've been doing this for about 34 days, and I'm very grateful for the people, the supporters I had, and I do hope that for those that are watching, you are gaining and learning something. Anything. Maybe you're learning something that's completely different from Forex trading, maybe I'm teaching a point of life. I don't know. But I think what we get too attached to, and I'm really starting to understand that this a lot more clearly ever since I I watched Trent Shelton's the self-worth method class. Very fantastic course. Very grateful for him to unleash that. But he talked about this particular principle called the the measurement principle, and it's where we measure ourselves in terms of our success. We would go into the realms of, am I for lack of a better word, where does success line up for me? Now, it's good to have a measurement of success. Don't get me wrong, but what I believe we put too much stock into is the amount of followers that we have, for instance, or the amount of all the amount of students that we have, or the amount of money that we have, or the amount of friends that we have. One thing I'll make perfectly clear is I am here to serve whoever comes to me. I'm whoever is attracted to my teachings, And again, I know that I still have a lot of teaching and learning to do. Whoever is attracted to what we're doing here, that is specifically who I'm looking to serve. If you're watching this video in particular, you are one of the people I desire to serve. I want you to gain something from this, anything. And so I really don't put too much stock, or I'm not concerned with how many followers I have, because I always think about this adage whenever I have people come in and, want to see what I do. It's not about the quantity for me. Never was. It was never about the quantity for me. It's always about the quality of people that I attract into my life. It's the quality of friends that I'm grateful to have. It's the quality of family that I have, the quality of my business and network associates that I have. That's what I am attracted to. And for me to understand that and for you to understand that is very powerful. You can have 1 million, 1 billion friends in the world at this point, but the way, what are we, a population of 8 billion? But if we go ahead and we want, and this is a mistake I have made so many times in the past, where I felt like everyone had to like me in order for me to be successful. And I realized that the more I made people like me because I placed on a mask, the more uglier I felt inside, the more dead I felt inside because it wasn't me. And so, whether this was subconsciously or unconsciously, around 25, I started to really take a look at especially when I was going through this particular journey. In fact, I want to say it was 2 years ago to the date that I really observed some of the people that were in my life, and I understood, well, in order for me to grow, some of these people have to go. And it's what I like to call it. It's a tough decision to think about. And it's not an easy decision. It takes time. It does. And you may or may not get it. Well, no, you'll always get it right. The universe will always, here's my principle. The universe will always guide you to who needs to stay and who needs to go. That's what I truly believe. But it's hard to think or to do those things. It is not a simple task. That's actually a very complex task. But more to the point, if you understand who is going to help you grow in life, if you want to grow, you need to make sure your environment is placed in a growth environment where people challenge you, people encourage you, people push you to be your best self. And I'm grateful that all the relationships that I've had indeed do that. And so I do want you to keep that in mind, that it's not about the quality. I'm sorry, it's not about the quantity. It's about the quality. Now, if you want things to change, you have to do something that different than what you've done before. And so I bring this up in a matter of speaking, because if we think about it, right, and we have understood that throughout our training journey together, we have done things, I completely forgot to do this, by the way, and that's another little mistake thing that I need to clean up. I completely forgot that I have to get my lines going right here. So the high point right here is 915.32. I'm also taking a look at that counter, by the way. So I've got a couple of things in mind here. Okay, so that is at 200. We'll call that 917.36. Just to make it easier. Okay. And then this high point was at 37. So I'm going to assume that's 917.47. That's 915.90, 917.90. There. Okay, there we go. And then I'll just wait for this candle to close before I make a final decision where to put those lines. And okay, UK oil is doing that. Then we've got gold versus euro, and then okay. Then we got gold, and then we've got LTC USD, UK oil, US oil is not doing anything, and then silver and Cardano is right here. Okay. Cool. Okay, let's move on. So again, you have to do something different than what you've done before. So as you could see in that example right there, we were only concentrated at one point in time throughout the journey with just when we entered and exited a trade, we were only looking for the arrow to appear and the arrow to either disappear, or we ultimately went out that trade in order to close the trade. Now, as far as our risk management is concerned, because we have seen that particular strategy blow up in our faces, quote unquote, what we're going to go ahead and do now is adjust the strategy a little bit so that we can go ahead and not have that particular, that way we don't have blown accounts happening to us. The idea is every blown account that we have, it's not a failure, or it is a failure, but it doesn't mean the end. Again, it means the beginning of something new with the knowledge that we didn't have back then, we know now. So now we know, we can't just ultimately, for at least for some of these pairs, just wait for the arrow to disappear or wait to close the trade and that's it. Now we're implementing different things based on the knowledge of what we have learned, based on what we have tried before, in order to make sure we do the right things more successfully. And so there are times as a trader you will fail. I'm not going to deny that. I am not going to BS you and say that you will not fail. You will fail. And that's a matter of life. However, if you can go ahead and understand this concept that even through failure, you will breed success, then you'll have no choice but to fail and to take pride in failing. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and just make sure. So that right there compared to this point is at about 500 pips or 500 points. So let me do this. Let me just make sure I'm doing this right. All right. So 500 is down to about here at 912.86. 912.86, 912.86. Great. Then we come over to here. That is at 912.35, 912.35, 912.35. Perfect. Then we come over to here. All right, we got to go all the way now to right here. Yep, 912.48, 912.48, 912.48. Oh, that's trouble right there. I can't even see that. All right, we're just gonna leave that right there, just because I can't. I can't see. But that's right where I want it to be anyway. That's fine. So another thing we want to talk about in this beautiful mind of ours, the human mind, it produces 60,000 thoughts a day, right? Now, a lot of these thoughts, at least I'd like to hope, are amazing thoughts, but we do have some bad thoughts that are out there. Now, a lot of the time before I started doing a sorry about that, I was just stretching, but a lot of the time when I just started out in terms of trading, before I did my morning routine, I would always get these thoughts that come into my mind, whether it's thoughts about my trading or thoughts about what's going on in my present life circumstances, whether it is some other BS, not some other nonsense. It always went ahead and it came into my mind. And for the longest time, I didn't necessarily do anything about it. And what happened is my mind went ahead and continued to tell me things that simply were not true. Again, the mind always loves to protect you. And sometimes that protection, for lack of a better word, can hinder your growth rather than help your growth. So when this came into mind, I realized that I had to do a couple of things differently in order to get better thought results, if that makes sense. So now, and I was really inspired to do this, especially after the Mastermind World Summit that took place last month, where I realized that what I was missing in my sphere of what I do is a concept called priming. Now, priming is a morning routine that you do right before you do anything else, which is part of, by the way, which is connected directly to the Miracle Morning book that we're talking about. But the idea with priming is this allows you to get into a mind of just total calm, total focus, where your mind doesn't think about anything else but what you want it to think about. So the way that I prime is, I get up, I bring all my stuff down to the down to the downstairs so I can begin working, and then I put on this tape on my phone. I say tape like it's a little cassette tape, like like we don't do that anymore. But no, I put on a recording, and through this recording, I listened to this 20-minute what I like to call meditation, where essentially positive affirmations are being put inside my head. They are supplanting, or they are replacing all the thoughts that are going on currently inside my brain. And I have to listen to this tape from start to end. I had to take those 20 minutes and do that. Otherwise, if I don't do that, then I have other different thoughts that, again, will not serve me in the slightest. And so I would encourage everyone to take up some form of meditation because, again, the human brain does produce 60,000 thoughts a day. And when we prime our mind at the start of every morning to think about positive things rather than negative things, then the way that we start our day, as we had talked about yesterday, is that first hour of the day is the rudder of the day. Whatever we put in the first hour of the day, the rest of the day is going to turn out exactly like what we put in. And this isn't about what we're doing right here. This is just about proving myself right. Whether my teachings are, and again, I love impacting, I love serving. Even if I am, and this is going to sound very counterintuitive, even if I am my only student watching or listening to these recordings, I understand that I myself can take this information down on my notepad as I put together a little bit of a script for what I want to talk about each and every episode. But if I put this down, this helps me stay on track. This helps me make sure, hey, are you doing what you need to be doing? Are you doing the things you say that you're doing? Are you doing what you need to do? And so for me, this isn't about proving anybody wrong, my teachings. This is about proving myself right and understanding that the gift that I have, I know that I can go ahead and I can serve and impact others. Now, again, this market is very uncertain and this journey is uncertain. It's scary. It's afraid. I've talked about that before, but this uncertainty isn't an excuse for inaction. It's not an excuse for me to not show up every day when I can, when the markets are open and not a holiday. And for me to trade, show everybody how I'm trading, show everybody how I'm doing, and how I'm using this to make sure that we move forward in the right direction, right? Because I do believe that the power in taking action in the face of uncertainty only allows you to get better at taking that uncomfortable action. I'm gonna close that trade on gold just because we were at 30 pips right there. So one trade is done for gold. Now we've got I believe one more to go on that. We still have a couple of trades in gold versus euro. Platinum is still doing its thing. So that's just an update I wanted to give everybody for the pairs that we're on. LTC, we're still rolling along. UK oil still doing its thing. US oil doing UK oil doing its thing. Nothing for US oil, nothing for silver, and nothing for Cardano as of yet. Okay. Let's come back. So then the question comes, every day as we're done, which is, and this is one that I want everyone to, and that's the purpose for how I teach, right? Or exactly how I do this particular series. Because I want everyone to, and this is important for you to keep in mind as well, you always want to be a forward thinker, not a backward thinker. We don't care about what happened in the past. We only care about what happens in the present and in the future. Or I'm sorry, we care about what's going on in the present so that our future is better, even if we don't have to focus on it. The question will always come up, what happens next? That's what I want to go ahead and leave and do. And this is the reason I want to do an amazing job for everybody. I want everyone to say, okay, what happens next? And if I can go ahead and successfully pull it off where people are like, okay, I want to go to the next thing. I want to go to the next thing. Then what I do isn't necessarily get the views. I don't care about the views. What I care about is how far do you want to take this journey and how fast do you want to get there? Okay, everybody. So I want to come back to one of my favorite books, The Miracle Morning by Hal Chase. And the next subject I want to talk about is what I would like to call the 95% reality check. One of the saddest things in life is to get to the end and look back and regret knowing that you could have been, done, and had so much more. So with this analogy, I always go back to what Dean Graziosi taught me, or this concept he painted for me. When I get to whenever that time will come again, I believe I'm going to live for about 200 plus years. But in actuality, when I get to my deathbed, do I want to have my maker? And again, we all have different makers right here, but for lack of a better word, I'm just going to call it the universe. Do I want the universe to essentially play me a movie of my life, of the movie that I could have had if I, didn't do all the things, if I didn't take the action? Do I want the universe to play me a movie that says, wow, this is what your life could have been if you had just taken that action? And it's a very scary concept, that's nightmarish, even if you want to consider that. And so that movie clip right there, and a few other things in my life that we don't need to get into right now, really help form the fact that, wow, there's only so much time that we have in this world, in this lifetime. And for lack of a better word, I have to make the most of it in some shape or some form. And by doing that, there is that concept of, I'm just going to close that trade again, 2 cents off $3. I'm not going to grab about that. But the idea being, do I want when we think about it, do I really want to tell my story of the fact that I had all these opportunities, and because I was afraid of taking that action, I didn't go after what I wanted? And again, that as I pause just thinking about that. And yeah, it is very scary when it's all said and done. So with that being said, I know that the road ahead is uncertain and is scary, but I must take it knowing that the alternative is indeed very much worse. The story of the human race is a story of men and women selling themselves short. We can be more. We can do more. We can feel more. We can lead more. And by the way, leading is not having people follow you. It's just about living life on your own terms and being a independent version of you that you desire to be, without societal norms pressuring you to be something that you're not. And so those societal norms come into the story of the human race, and those societal norms tell many stories of the people who sold themselves short because society didn't like it. Mind you, a lot of the people that are successful, society doesn't tend to like them, so that there's probably that correlation right there. But anyway, not that's another different conversation entirely. Every day you wake up, you face the same universal challenge: to overcome mediocrity and live to our full potential. The greatest challenge in human history: to rise above or our excuses, do what's right, give our best, and create the level 10 life we truly want. The one with no limits, the one so few people ever get to live. Right? That's freedom. No limits, no restrictions. the level 10 life that we want. That all points out to freedom. And when we think about that, this is one of these vehicles to that freedom, to that level 10 lifestyle. Is it an easy thing to do? No, this isn't easy. But again, nothing in life does come easy if we think about it. Let me close that out. All right. So we just got, so if I'm not mistaken, we just won a, let me just make sure I did that right. I believe we just won a platinum trade. Yeah, we just won a platinum trade. Okay. Okay, cool. So again, I'm just looking at all this like, okay, so that's what happened. That's the beautiful thing. You learn something new every day about trading. It's just like, whoa, this blows my mind. Anyway, coming back to what we were talking about, right? So as I take a look at everything else. Okay. So the greatest challenge in human history is to indeed, actually, here's what I'm going to do. Here is what I'm going to do. Actually, you know what? I'm going to wait until that count closes. I'm sorry. I'm just going through. You see, this is why I have a script, by the way, because if I don't, I go into ADHD territory. It's bad. But the greatest challenge, right, is to go ahead and do. This is a great challenge for us to master this particular skill. It's not easy. Even after 2 years of doing this, I still have not learned nearly as much as I desire to become a better teacher. But the idea that we overcome that fact and still do the things that are going to make us have that quality of life that we want to, that's what I desire to pursue. And I hope that you desire to pursue the same thing as well. So that's all great, right? So we want to live this level 10 life, and we understand that we have this reality check that we have to do. So how do we acknowledge, or not acknowledge, but how do we go through this process, right? So let's talk about it. Step one, acknowledge the 95% reality check. We must understand and acknowledge the reality that 95% of our society will never create and live the life they really want. You know, they always say that there is a statistic that you know, the top 1 to 3% of all people have all the wealth. And I truly believe that some of those people are in that 95%. Yes, they do have wealth, so it makes them in a sense powerful, but there's a difference between, I'm going to close that out. So right now we're done with gold versus euro. So I'm done with that pair, at least for right now. So we're going to leave that to the side. So what we're really working with is just platinum. We're also working with UK oil, and we're working with LTC USD. So I got those 4 pairs lined up. But I just want to give an update on that. Oh, I need to go ahead and I need to close this out, delete that, and place a sell. And this will go right. So this was 90.727. Here I go blabbering, and I completely forget about about UK oil right here. Okay, so let me do this. So this is 90.727. So I'm going to put that at 200, which is right here, 90.933. Okay. 90.933. 90.933. 90.933. Right here. Okay. So we got that, and then we've got the buy candle that moved over to, I'm sorry, the sell arrow that moved over to the next candle as well. So we will allow that to play out and wait for about 15 minutes before we get ourselves into another trade. Gold versus euro, we're done with that. UK oil, nothing. Silver, nothing. And Cardano, nothing. Okay. So as you can see, by the way, we've won a couple of trades and we lost a couple of trades today. And that's totally perfect. That's totally perfect. Okay. So we must understand that 95% of the population here is not living the life they want. And with that being said, just because you're wealthy, right? And it sounds so crazy because we're pursuing, wealth through Forex trading, but just because you're wealthy doesn't mean that you're fulfilled. Again, we have all these stories about all these billionaires and millionaires and all that stuff that, I hate talking about it, but there is talks of them overdosing, killing, dying. And you have to think what they're doing, is that truly a sign of them being fulfilled? Like, would you want, if you were rich, right, and you had the thought about, and again, I can't speak to what they're going through, mind you, because again, I am not them. It's hard for me to talk about somebody if I can't place or put them in my shoes. I'm sure being a billionaire or a millionaire, there are things that come with it. And some people, again, we all go through different walks in life. So I am not one to put a judgment on anyone or anything. That's totally not that's definitely not the point. The point being, we have this part of the population, 5%, that are truly feeling fulfilled and 95% that are not. How come that is the case? I'd desire to see that trend change to where people, instead of people feeling so unfulfilled, let's move that to where we can go ahead and become fulfilled. And by learning this skill, I believe that everybody can achieve the wealth that they truly desire to go live those fulfilled lives that we all desire. If we don't commit to thinking and living differently, then most people now, we are setting ourselves up to endure a life of mediocrity, struggle, failure, and regret, just like most people. And again, I'm I'm not here to say who isn't living a fulfilled life and who's not. That's, again, not up to me. That I am just me. I can only worry about me. I only desire, and the priority should be at me at all times. But all I'm saying is that there is a choice. Life is a matter of choices. Life, in every moment that we can make a choice, impacts our life forever. So we have a choice to always do the moments that lead us to the fulfilled life, and we have moments that do not lead us to the fulfilled life. And it's a very millimeter amount of time to where we can go ahead and choose that particular life that is going to work for us, like it or not. Now, here's the real scary part in all this. This will include our own friends, family, and peers if we don't do something about it now and set an example of what's possible when we commit to fulfilling our potential. That's my desire. Because again, I am very much understanding that if I just wanted to trade by myself, I could. I could definitely do that, not show what I'm doing, but I know there's a bigger purpose to me being on this here recording, me going through my experience in trading and showing you guys. I'm just going to close this out, by the way. Okay, so I'm done with gold for 2. So yeah, I'm done with gold. So, we're no longer trading gold. So I'm going to put that right here. Now, when I say I'm done trading gold, I mean for right now. There's another opportunity that we will go ahead and tackle it. Let's not get that confused. Okay, so that's done. I'm gonna place a buy right here. Okay, all right. So that happened. So we still have a buy arrow intact for UK oil. So the sell arrow is intact. So depending on what happens within the next 7 minutes, we may get into another trade. And then, okay. So the oil prices are rising. Very, very good. Okay, so we've got, I believe, one more trade with platinum, or two. I think two. We've got a a couple of open trades for LTC USD, I believe two as well. Actually, I believe we have two LTC, two platinum, and a potential UK oil sell trade that we can get into. Everything else is closed for right now. Yes. Okay. Cool. So again, this is what I'm here for, is to go ahead and understand that yes, there is this uncertainty. There is this reality, but I'd rather choose this reality with the potential to know that I can really turn a lot of people's lives around, not just my own by doing this, even if I am considered the crazy guy in all this. And that's the crazy thing. You're not crazy. You're considered crazy until you're proven right. And that's fine with me. That is a badge of honor that I take, understanding that the way ahead is much better than going back. Being average means to settle for less than you truly want and are capable of, and to struggle for your entire life. Sure, there have been let me get this out of the way. They are indeed struggles that I deal with right now. That's not something I'll deny. We all go through those struggles, right? Especially in these times. You've got inflation, recession, the whole I'm not going to be one of those people where I say the whole world's going to fall apart. It's not. It really isn't. But a lot of people, because of what's going on in the world, are indeed struggling at this particular moment. So what can we do? Now, granted, I'm doing this because, oh, hold on. I forgot to close one of these lines right here. Give me a second. I'm sorry. Okay, there we go. Let's try that again. Okay, so get out of my way. So that was about 200 points. So let's move that 200 points. 910.58. Yeah, 910.58. $200 points here is 910.36. Right there's good. Okay. So again, I know that life right now is a struggle for a lot of people, and understanding what it truly means for someone to teach people how to get out of that struggle, to know that there is a way that can set you free forever. That's what I truly desire to pursue for everybody. And thus I take that mantle, whatever come, whatever may. So step number 2, identify the causes of mediocrity. To prevent mediocrity from happening to you, you must know what causes the average person to end up living a life of mediocrity. If 95% of our society is not living the life that they want, we must figure out what they did wrong or what they didn't do right so that we don't end up living a life of mediocrity. So it's a matter of what does 5% of the most successful people do that we ourselves don't do? And that's not an easy question to answer. I certainly do not have the answers at this particular moment, but what I will say to that is, I'm looking at successful people like a Tony Robbins, a Dean Graziosi, a Grant Cardone, a Russell Brunson, a Trent Shelton, just to name a few. I'm even going to be attending tonight a seminar by Robert Kiyosaki. And I know, based on what I've seen, based on the lives they live, based on their teachings, they do indeed live successful lives. So I study those people to see, okay, this is what they're doing. This is what I need to do. If you want to live an extraordinary life as defined and designed by you, then you must identify the fundamental causes of mediocrity so you can prevent them from robbing you of the life you want. And to do that, to identify those causes, it takes review, it takes work. I mean, it's certain. There's something that Dean Graziosi taught me to do into our community that we have at the platform that I get privileged to be a part of, that I'm grateful to be a part of, and it's more to the point. There's a thing called a not to do list, and on this not to do list, I simply write down, okay, what is it that I don't do so that I could do the things that I desire to do to live that life that I truly want and leave as being fulfilled. So one thing that I believe for me, I can put on this list is, one thing I can't do anymore is work past 8 o'clock p.m. my time, with 8 o'clock Mountain, 9 o'clock Central, 10 o'clock Eastern, because I used to do that, and it was not something that I loved doing. I was frankly irritated, and I felt like I could not get any peace by allowing myself to be that open to people who, again, I'm truly grateful for for asking me for help. But I know that at the end of the day, oh, by the way, I need to go ahead and I need to get into a sell trade. So let's do that. So we're in a sell trade for UK oil, and I'm going to go ahead and see what the high point is for this guy. That's 91.052, 91.052. So all the way up here. And then we get that to 200. So 91.252. 91.252. 91.252. Okay, perfect. Okay, so we'll leave that right there. Let's see. We're still working on platinum, still working on LTC USD. Okay, perfect. Okay, cool. Nothing on the gold, nothing on gold versus USD, nothing on gold versus euro, nothing on US oil, nothing on silver versus USD, and nothing on Cardano as of yet. Okay, back to here. So what we may ultimately need to end up doing, actually, you know what I'm going to do? I am going to, okay. So it looks like I'm going to need to go ahead and close out the LTC trade, since the arrow is not showing up after this candle right here broke the sell designation. So I'm going to go ahead and close out those trades. I'm going to move that to the back right here. We're still working on UK oil, and we're still working on platinum at the meanwhile. So we'll go ahead and do just that. Right. So what were we talking about? Yes, we must understand that, again, we have a do not do list. So I don't work past I don't work past 8 o'clock Mountain, 9 Central, 10 Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific anymore. Can't do that. We'll never do that again, because I know how much it robbed me of the self time I needed to refresh and recharge and prepare for the next day. One of the things that I cannot do anymore is I can't I truly don't remember the last time that let's see. Well, one thing I don't do anymore, and I'm sorry, I'm just kind of really just thinking about all the things that I really don't do a whole lot of anymore. Um, hmm. Anyway, just kind of looking at these trades right here. All right, everybody, I am back. So, besides working at 10, besides making sure I'm committed to that rule of not working past 10 p.m., I realized a couple of things that, again, I care to admit. While I have said I would never do certain things, I know that I've not been a good man of my word of not doing these certain things. And for me to understand what progress will truly mean to me, to understand I, if I really want that level 10 life of everything I want, I know I have to stop doing certain things. And so I will admit on this recording that we're going to change a few things. And if I make a mistake, I'll certainly admit it here on the recording again. But these are things that I know if I stop doing from this particular moment forward, if I make a conscious choice to not do these things anymore, I know my life is going to move forward. And again, if I make a mistake on that, I have to look at myself in the mirror, realize that I lied to each and every one of you on camera, and I have to face those facts. But we're going to create that not to do list right now. Right now. So, again, I've said that I won't work past 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is a commitment I'm fully committed to making. Number 2, from this moment forward, I will not smoke anymore. I will not smoke marijuana anymore. And it's funny. It's hard to kind of put into words, be saying that what that's going to do, but I know that if I keep continuing to do that, I won't. And you could see the hesitation in my voice. This does feel uncomfortable me saying this, but I also know that if I at least admit it on camera, it's very, again, very therapeutic in a way that I can let some of the stuff go. So that's number one. That's number one. That's number two. So number one, I'm not working past 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I've been fully committed to doing that for a while, but now that's set in stone. That's the not to do list. Number two, no more marijuana. Not anymore. No. And I have to commit to that practice. Number three. And I know this isn't a pleasant topic to talk about, but again, I think we should, I should be forthcoming in some things of mine that I end up doing that are not going to serve me anymore. So with that being said, another thing that I will not do is again, you can see the hesitation right here, but because again, admitting it on I guess camera in the public is scary, but what will change if I don't do those things that are scary to say? So another thing to add to the list, to my not to do list, is and again, if you want to skip like these next 10 seconds, completely understand. Just skip the next 10 seconds here. I will not masturbate anymore. Again, I know this isn't the most comfortable thing to talk about while we're on Forex trading, but again, these are just things that are going to help me be successful, that I want you to practice so that you can be successful as well. So if you do hear that hesitation in my voice, then please understand that this is not easy for me to say on a recording like this. That's going to be on YouTube sent to the public. Like, a lot of what I have to say isn't nice to hear, wonderful to hear. But if I don't start admitting these things, then when am I going to change? Right. So that's number three. So again, just to recap, number one, not working till 10. Number two, not smoking marijuana. Number three, not masturbating anymore. Okay. Number four. What's number four? Well, let's see. Number four. Again, I feel just so. Is liberated the right word? I don't know if liberated the right word, but I do feel a sense of a weight being lifted off my shoulder now that I've admitted to some of these things. So let me look at that right there. So that high point is now 0 point. Okay, great. So let's see what else. Yeah. Yeah, I'll need a moment to think about some more stuff on our not to do list. All right, everybody. So I am back. So As far as those three things, I feel that I can go ahead and we'll start there. And we'll add more things to this not to-do list later, but yeah. I think just admitting some of these things that have indeed been holding me back has been liberating in a sense. It's not easy to talk about. Certainly, I don't believe anyone anticipated that this was going to be the conversation. We were going to talk about this during Forex trading, but again, what I want us to do is I want us to, again, just think of those things that we need to put on our not to-do list anymore that is indeed holding us back. So let's talk about causes of mediocrity, besides the things I've just admitted I would not do anymore, and immediate solutions. So rear view mirror syndrome. Our subconscious mind are equipped with a self-limiting rear view mirror through which we continuously receive and recreate our past. We mistakenly believe that who we are is who we are is who we are. I'm sorry, who we were is who we are, thus limiting our true potential in the present based on the limitations of our past. As a result, we filter every choice we make, from what time we will wake up in the morning to which goals we all set, to what we allow ourselves to consider possible from our lives through the limitations of our past experiences. And again, a lot of this has to do with, I woke up at a certain time before I was truly committed to, living the life that I truly wanted. And now I'm starting to understand that by understanding that, waking up early, for instance, at 4:30 to do my meditation is needed, then before I trade, that's one thing that I would go ahead and say is one thing that that I changed that wasn't necessarily connected to my past experience, getting up at 4:30, even to admitting, okay, what does my schedule look like now? Because now I am, pursuant on learning more. And, because by learning more, especially from what we had talked about, what we would consider the top 5% successful people in this world, I'd go ahead and follow what they would do. I wasn't thinking about that before, in the past, I should say. And so to have that mindset of choosing that instead of this is, or what's the word looking for? From what I essentially what I did before we started this journey of Forex trading compared to what I do now, I do believe is different. Waking up early and learning from some of the greatest people that are out there. I do believe that is truly important. We want to create a better life, but sometimes we don't know how to see it any other way than how it's always been. And, I talked about this. The average person thinks somewhere between 50,000 and 60,000 thoughts. So some of these thoughts to us are conflicted with how we truly want to live and what we knew how to live in the past. And because you get that conflict right there, you don't necessarily know which road to go, essentially. And most of the time, you ultimately end up getting confused. All right, everybody. So I am back, and yeah, What a what an interesting episode or interesting day so far, I'll say, to speak. So I'm going to go ahead and actually close out a buy trade that we were in with UK Oil to open up a sell trade. We have the sell arrow still going in our direction, is still going up for our arrow for the sell trade is still there. So we're going to go ahead and take a sell trade. Our high point is at 91.632. So I'm going to go ahead and move that up where you see what 200 points looks like. That is 91.838. So I'm going to do that. 91.838. 91.838. I'll add it. Oh, there we go. Okay, perfect. So I'm going to have that one sell trade open for UK oil. And let's take a look at everything else. Nothing for platinum, nothing for gold, nothing for LTC, nothing for gold versus euro, nothing for US oil, nothing for silver, and nothing for our Cardano as of yet. So with that being said, oh, we do have the, okay, so that arrow just disappeared. So I'm going to go ahead and we are going to place a buy. So that's done. So we're done with the US oil for right now. So in that particular case, no worries. We're going to go ahead then and wait for the next opportunity. So when I have that next opportunity for everyone, I will let you know and we will go from there. All right, everybody. So I am coming back right now. We do have a sell trade that is about to take place for gold versus euro. And so we're going to go ahead and get into a sell trade. So we're going to go ahead and allow that particular trade to play out. So we've got one sell trade going for gold versus euro. Just take a look at everything else. UK oil, I've got nothing. Platinum, I got nothing. I've got nothing for gold, nothing for LTC USD. I've got nothing for oil. I've got nothing for silver, and I have nothing for Cardano as of yet. So gold versus euro is going to be the one thing that we will go ahead and we will focus on for right now. And as soon as I have an update for everybody, I will let you know. All right, everybody, I'm going to go ahead and close that gold trade out. We were at 30 pips, but I didn't want to close it just yet. I wanted to make sure you saw me do that. So we went ahead and we won that trade right there. So gold versus euro, great. We're moving forward in the right direction. Just because of the way that down arrow appeared on the last candle, normally I would take that trade, but because we're so down on it already, we already closed out a winning sell trade. I'm going to go ahead and ignore that arrow for right now. Instead, just concentrate on the next opportunity that we get. So other than that, here is our lineup for at least right now. We don't have any other opportunities as of yet. I'm looking at Cardano. I'm looking at silver. I'm looking at oil. I'm looking at LTC. I'm looking at gold versus USD. I'm looking at platinum. I'm looking at oil. And of course, there's gold versus euro. So with that being said, we will go ahead and we will wait for the next opportunity. And once I have that opportunity, I will definitely let you guys know. All right, everybody, I'm going to go ahead and get myself into a buy trade for US oil. We have the buy arrow coming up. And of course, we have a severe uptrend that is going on right now. So certainly don't mind getting myself into a buy trade for US oil. And again, we are going to allow this particular trade to play out no matter what happens. And we will go ahead and we will move forward from there. Gold versus euro, we don't have anything on that. I do not have anything on UK oil. Do not have anything on platinum. I do not have anything on gold. I do not have anything on LTC, nor silver, nor Cardano. So with that being said, I'm going to allow oil to play out. And as soon as I have an update for you guys, I will definitely let you know. All right, everybody. So in this situation, we've got our buy arrow that moved over to the next candle. I can't open up a new buy trade because of our margin right here. So what we're going to do is a little experiment. I'm actually going to close a buy trade that's in profit, reopen or open up a new buy trade. And I'm going to take this arrow right here. So the low was at 84.858. And I'm going to go ahead and move that all the way down to 200, which would be 84.652. 84.652.
84.652, and I'm going to go ahead and have that as my new buy trade. As far as everything else is concerned, we currently have nothing on gold versus euro, nothing on UK oil, nothing on platinum, nothing on gold, nothing on LTC, nothing on silver, and nothing on Cardano as of yet. So oil is going to be our, oh, okay. So we can see right there, oil is indeed done. So that's okay though. Again, this is a learning lesson for each and every one of us. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to leave oil alone for right now, since there's only about 24 minutes. There's not really a whole lot that I can do there. And of course, I do want to be transparent with my results. So this is what it looks like. But now we know the strategy that we had done before does not work. And so now our ultimate goal is to go ahead and look for a new strategy that will indeed work. So that'll be coming into the fray sooner rather than later. So with that being said, we're going to leave oil alone for right now. We still got gold to play around with. We still got US oil to play around with. We still got platinum play around with, gold versus USD, LTC, silver, as well as Cardano right here. So we're going to go ahead and move forward. We do have about really until about 9:50, since I have to take into account UK oil for us to really get into a trade. So if anything, I'll wait for a new trade and we will be right back when I have a further update for you guys. All right, everybody. So we're going to do one last trade. I'm going to take a buy on UK oil. We saw that the buy arrow has moved upwards. We saw that we are in a uptrend right now. So we're going to go ahead and allow this trade to play out at least for the next 10 minutes until my trading day is done for the day. And yeah, we had a lot to talk about today. We definitely had some wins in some trades. I'm looking at gold specifically, gold versus USD, gold versus euro. They did exceptionally well today. Platinum, we did get a victory in there. So we did move forward in the right direction with platinum. Oil, we didn't do so well. UK oil, unless this trade I'd like for it to turn out well, but we also did not do well on that either. LTC and Cardano, we did not do well on either. We'd had some losing trades there, but that's okay. Everything, like I said, everything is a learning process, and we move forward in the right direction. And of course, got a little intense right there, got a little vulnerable today with some things that we had talked about on our not to-do list. And again, for those that missed it, or well, I guess you wouldn't have missed it if you got to the end of this video right here. But just to recap, we talked about some things that I needed to essentially I need to move forward and cut out of my life. It talked about working till 10 o'clock. That's something I haven't done for a while, and that's something that I need to promise myself to not ever do. So, don't work past 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock Mountain, 7 o'clock Pacific. Don't do that for myself ever. Also, I've talked about, basically I need to not just cut back on marijuana, but also I just need to stop it. That is something that I'm going to promise to the microphone right now as I guess a representation of myself to stop doing that. And this last one was a lot less comfortable talking about, but it needs to be said. I have to also stop masturbating. And again, if that's a little too much for you, if that's a little too much on an investing show, I understand where you're coming from, but I do believe it's important to talk about, because at the end of the day, if we aren't, I feel it's important to admit my faults where I need to improve. And, those are the first three things that are going to be put on my to not do list. And I'm confident as I reflect a bit more on things that happen now into the future, there'll probably be a lot more other things that will also need to not be there on there as well. So again, just things that I was able to, just talk about openly, honestly.
And I'm very grateful to be able to share these with you and also be able to have grateful enough to have the courage to admit to things that are uncomfortable and that I'm afraid to talk about, that have indeed plagued my life. So very, very open. I'm definitely feeling a lot better after, saying that and having the courage to say that. So that's all very awesome, all very good. But moving forward now, so we could stop that. Moving forward, what we're going to go ahead and do is, of course, if you have any questions about what we're doing on here, I plan to introduce a few topics onto the podcast, onto the show, that are going to be independent of forex trading. I briefly mentioned this in my last video that there are going to be opportunities that I'm going to be partnering with. They are, again, potential opportunities. I will not make any income claims here. You know the drill. You've seen my disclaimer text for all these days and journeys, and that is to remain true. You are responsible for what you do in this market, and as well as any other opportunities I present, I will say you are responsible for those decisions. Those are your choices to make. So, with that being said, I will introduce a few of those, and there are a few other things that are going to be here and there. Of course, I don't necessarily have a set schedule for a lot of this content. It's more so, hey, what is Jordan thinking about at the moment, and then I just go do it. So, that's really awesome. And yes, so if you have a question about all that, feel free to drop a comment in the YouTube channel video below. And of course, my social media channels, if you will. You got Facebook, which is indeed Jordan Rosario. You have got Instagram, which is Jordan Rosario 777, and you also have Twitter, which is WC_Empresario. And of course, I've got this amazing website that I've been telling for the last few days on the show that I'm working on building. Still working on that, but we did make progress, and you were able to see that progress if you checked out my ClickFunnels series episode 4. If you've not and are interested in learning exactly how that tool works, I recommend checking out that series. And also, I will be planning. I was getting done with a conversation. As you know, I do like helping people out, and I realized that I've been telling everybody, hey, go trade on a demo account, but I haven't necessarily. I've shown a few instances of how to create an account, but I really haven't gone through the process of explaining that. So do anticipate at some point, I don't know when, I don't know how, but the what and why, again, is the most important thing. But do anticipate that we are going to have some beginner content on this channel just to help people understand how to go ahead and get yourselves going on setting up a account and everything like that. So with that being said, today has been an absolutely amazing day so far. Like I said, I know that we haven't, there are wins and losses in this mix, but that is the game of trading. Wins and losses and everything else that comes in between. And we embrace and we enjoy the process step by step as we move forward. In Again, I don't know what your income goals are, your income dreams, but my dreams are 10, 11, 12 counting figures, and that is the road that I take, and that is the road that I travel. And I envision that a lot of people are going to be joining this road with me. So, with that being said, we got about 2 minutes right here, 2.5 minutes before we are done. So, yeah, a lot of great stuff coming along. So, definitely, keep I guess you're whether you watch it or not, again, that does not matter to me. For those that are intrigued, are interested in continuing to watch the content, keep on chugging along. I have more stuff planned, and again, it's a beautiful thing to, as I go on this tangent right here, it's a beautiful thing to have new ideas and just kind of write them down and realize, let's put that out there and see what happens. And I will say to those that are wanting to start their own content, listen, I was inspired to do this particular sort of channel, just from my own 2 podcasts and the other amazing YouTubers that are out there. They gave me the inspiration to do something like this. And It may, like I said, it might be different, unique, maybe crazy, but that is probably the best way to becoming a success, is to do things the crazy way. So we've got about a minute and a half here before we're done for the day. What else can I go ahead and fill the airspace with? Well, let's see. I mean, I do have some coaching stuff planned out as well, so be on the lookout for that content. Other than that, yeah, that's pretty much it. I know that I've got interviews planned, so that's all amazing, and I'm hoping that I'm definitely looking forward to getting some of that stuff done whenever we can get that done. So I've not forgot about that interview section. I know that I've neglected that part over the last couple of weeks right here, over the last 2, 3 weeks. And I really do want to go ahead and get some stuff going on that, because there are, again, so many amazing people out in this world. And I do feel it's my duty and my obligation to go ahead and make sure that their light is just as bright as mine, if not even brighter. So we'll get that done. We'll get some content going on there. We got 30 seconds until we're done with this particular day. And we're just watching UK oil play itself out. And my timer has gone ahead and has decided, oh, there we go. Okay. Now we've got about 15 seconds left before the end of the day. So we're going to go ahead and let these last 10 seconds play out. I am not doing a New Year's Eve countdown. I've done that once in an episode. Don't feel like doing it again. So we're going to go ahead and say that we are done. We are done. Get the sell trade going. That's it. That's our day. So again, here are my social media channels. Feel free to post a comment or on the YouTube channel if you have a question. Other than that, everybody, I am so grateful for you to be here on day 35 of my Forex trading journey. And as always, happy trading.